And that low risk collapsed the bank last weekend. Here's what a bank does. Very simple. Commercial banks take in deposits from businesses and from individuals. They give you, as I'm sure you've noticed, next to nothing for that deposit. You're supposed to be grateful that they're holding it for you, that it's safe, and that you get a monthly document telling you what's been happening to it. That costs them next to nothing. They then take your deposit, your money, and lend it out wherever they can get the highest rate of return, to a corporate borrower, to an individual to use as their credit card backup, and so on. In other words, the bank lives off the difference between what it pays you for your money, very little, and what it gets by lending your money out, which can be significant. One of the most important investments banks make is they buy government bonds. In other words, they take the deposit you put in and they lend it to the United States government. A little aside, if you do that yourself, you can make the difference rather than the bank. It's called getting rid of the middleman. Just don't tell the banker where you heard it, okay? Everything I'm telling you is completely legal and normal. Here's what Silicon Valley Bank did. It took in deposits, and it made loans to local startups, and it bought government bonds. And that's what it did, and it made a lot of money for a bunch of years doing that. Then starting, as you all know, especially those of you in California, starting some months ago, high tech encountered difficulties. It laid off hundreds of thousands of its workers in Silicon Valley particularly, but all over. Of course, if the high-tech company cuts back its operations, it puts less deposits in the bank. It doesn't need them for the business that's now reduced. Likewise, the individuals who lost their jobs could not make their mortgage payments the way they used to. They didn't have money to put in a deposit in the bank. They were scurrying around, maybe finding a job somewhere else. Their deposits began to shrink. Well, there's a problem. If people want their deposits out and new ones aren't coming in, the only place you can go, really, to give the depositors their money back is to go to the bonds that you purchased and sell them and get the money and give it to your depositor. Just reverse the normal process. Here's the problem. The bonds have a price. When you lend to the government, you get a piece of paper or electronically. You've lent the government $1 million. We'll pay you back in 2 years and 6 months, and we'll give you this interest every year. That's how it works. If the interest rates go up, the price of the bond goes down. If you want, I can explain that later. It's just arithmetic, the way it works. Since the interest rates went up dramatically over the last 8 months, in order why? To fight the inflation that really troubles the American economy, the Federal Reserve decided to raise interest rates. Well, here's what happens, and it's like a human being. If you're not careful, the solution to one problem gives you a bigger problem